As the dawn of 1912 emerges, France welcomes a new prime minister into its fold, the dynamic Raymond Poincaré. A seasoned diplomat with a profound affinity for Russia, Poincaré's recent ambassadorial tenure in Moscow has amplified his influence and vision for France's future. In stark contrast to his predecessor, Caillaux, who steered clear of mobilizing French troops to avoid conflict with Germany, Poincaré stands firm in his conviction. He adamantly believes that France cannot afford to repeat the mistakes of 1871 and must assert its strength on the international stage. Embracing the ethos of the Guerre Wing, as dubbed by the parliamentary group, Poincaré and his coalition have swiftly seized control of France's governance. Their assertive stance sends ripples of apprehension across Europe, reigniting tensions that have lain dormant for too long. While most of the great powers remain silent on the Balkan conflict, the looming question persists. How long will this fragile peace endure before the specter of war once again grips the continent? The Reich faces instability as Prussia hangs in a contested balance between the SPD and the DKP. This constitutional crisis disrupts the norm, where the party with the most states gains all Bundesrat votes, typically securing the position of Minister-President of Prussia. Historically, the roles of Reich Chancellor and Minister-President of Prussia have also aligned, adding complexity to the current situation. With the election of von Bethmann-Hollweg, a shift occurred as the two offices were divided, and now the DKP's held on to the title of Minister-President of Prussia since 1907. Now, the complex political landscape faces a critical juncture as various parties vie for power in the state. Constitutionally, the Kaiser holds the authority to appoint the Minister-President, granting any party all Bundesrat seats, an undemocratic avenue, yet within the Kaiser's prerogative. Prussia remains in a state of flux, with no clear majority, rendering all seats inactive. Parties must unite under one Prussian minister-president, determining who effectively holds the position and thus controls Prussia's Bundesrat seats. A challenging predicament indeed. In other news, the General August von Mackensen would make a move unprecedented to this date. With his own military troops, he would move his men into a series of states to work on so-called public works to improve the economy. This, though, was received with a less than favorable reaction. Especially in Hanover, Franken, and Brandenburg, the people went to the streets protesting the inefficiency of the armed forces in involving themselves in the free market economy. This not only resulted in severe damage to numerous factories, but also sparked widespread unrest. In the aftermath, not only was von Mackensen urged to leave the areas with the most protests, but the entire armed forces faced mounting opposition. Many clamored for change and reform to prevent the recurrence of the crises caused by the military. The situation was undeniably volatile. In Brandenburg and Munich, attention turned to the military writings of a notable figure, Prince and Field Marshal Ruprecht von Bayern. His book, The Dawn of Mobile Warfare, a treatise on the evolution of modern battle tactics, took the Reich by storm. In Brandenburg, the book was embraced as a success, with protesters against Mackensen's actions rallying behind calls for military reform. However, in Bavaria, where the populace wished for their prince to remain, the reception was more subdued. Nonetheless, this thrust the prince into the spotlight on the national stage. Amidst the bustling streets of Berlin, a press conference buzzed with anticipation as August Wilhelm Hei stepped forward to assume his new role as chief of Abteilung der 3B, the esteemed intelligence agency of the German Empire. Handpicked by the Chancellor himself, this promotion marked a pivotal moment as Walter Nicolai's contributions were acknowledged, while the brilliance of Hei was warmly welcomed into his new position. Meanwhile, after months of intense negotiations, Berlin witnessed the unveiling of a new government by Reichskanzler Hollweg. Dubbed the Third Hollweg Government, it formed through a strategic alliance between Zentrum and DKP. While echoing the continuity of past Hollweg administrations, this time saw notable concessions, particularly in Prussia. Here, DKP chairman von Westharp ascended to the role of prime minister, solidifying his influence over the largest state in Germany. Not only did this shift in power grant significant influence to the conservatives, but it also saw the appointment of the seasoned veteran Hans von Schwerin, former chairman of the DKP, as the new Minister of Interior, returning to his old position. However, challenges soon emerged. Many key ministries remained vacant, including colonial affairs, foreign affairs, and labor affairs. Moreover, the government continued to operate as a minority one, prompting speculation about negotiations with the FVP to bolster its ranks. Yet, as whispers circulated, it became apparent that the FVP itself was grappling with internal turmoil and crisis. With von Westharp assuming the mantle of prime minister in Prussia, backed by Zentrum, the long-standing deadlock in the Bundesrat dissolved swiftly. While hailed as a triumph for stability, discontent simmered among those yearning for change. Nonetheless, the new government wasted no time in outlining its directives, drawing heavily from the Zentrum Party's election manifesto. This signaled a centrist stance in governance, prioritizing peace in Europe alongside the safeguarding of democratic and labor reforms championed by preceding administrations. In a separate development, colonial works in Africa resumed under the stewardship of von Eichhorn, the Minister of Defense. His initiatives not only bolstered local Astari troops, but also enlisted indigenous populations to enhance regional infrastructure. However, these advancements coincided with escalating issues on the mainland. The renowned army chief, Field Marshal von Bülow, was swiftly arrested and transported to Berlin by the intelligence agency. The reasons behind his arrest remained opaque, though speculation mounted that protests in Hanover, Brandenburg, and Franken were beginning to influence the armed forces. In the wake of recent developments, the impending departure of Friedrich Naumann from the chairmanship of the FVP became increasingly apparent. Throughout his tenure, Naumann had passionately championed social and democratic reforms, a commitment he carried into his role within the Hollweg governments. His tenure as foreign minister of the German Empire was marked by notable achievements. Naumann successfully negotiated a landmark agreement with the British, effectively halting the naval arms race. Additionally, he fostered positive relations with the Ottoman Empire and skillfully navigated the complexities of the Agadir crisis, demonstrating his diplomatic acumen on the global stage. The departure of Friedrich Naumann from the chairmanship of the FVP leaves behind a legacy characterized by bravery, unwavering dedication, and a steadfast commitment to Germany, earning him the revered title of Der Krisenlöser, the crisis solver. While his decision to step down may have come as a surprise to some, Naumann has chosen to prioritize his family and offer others the opportunity to lead the party. As the FVP prepares to enter a new chapter, the future direction it will take remains uncertain. Yet, the imminent election of a new chairman signals a period of transition and potential renewal for the party. While Naumann will continue to serve as a member of the Reichstag, his shift to a backbench role paves the way for fresh perspectives to emerge and shape the political landscape of the Reich. With Friedrich Naumann's departure, staunch supporters of his leadership quickly emerged to assume key roles within the party. Ultimately, it was decided that the younger Friedrich Payer would take the helm as chairman, with the seasoned politician and banker Johannes Kampf serving as vice chairman. While Naumann's exit left the party in a state of flux, the emergence of this new leadership marked a significant shift on the German political stage. Meanwhile, in Brandenburg, a decree was issued outlining the implementation of the security policy of the Third Hollweg government. This directive allocated an additional 100 million marks to the Ministry of Interior and a staggering 5 billion marks to the ministry overall. This substantial increase in budgetary resources aimed to bolster the inner security of Germany, solidifying its position in an uncertain world. In a move that surprised few, the Third Hollweg government expanded its coalition, securing a decisive majority in the Reichstag. With the inclusion of the FVP, this new government signaled a continuation of policies from previous years. Notably, Friedrich assumed dual roles as Minister for Foreign Affairs and Minister for Colonial Affairs. This development marked a significant victory for Germany, as the government now boasted a robust 55% majority, enabling decisive action both on the international stage and in domestic governance. However, Chancellor Hollweg also addressed lingering concerns, pledging to introduce new legislation aimed at addressing public scrutiny of the armed forces. Additionally, he vowed to expand naval dockyard productions in accordance with the Treaty of Madrid, underscoring Germany's commitment to naval development and international obligations. Furthermore, it was announced that the ongoing Balkan conflict would be addressed through diplomacy, with Chancellor Hollweg and former Chairman Naumann's vision of sensible defensive diplomacy to be upheld. Germany would take on the role of mediator in resolving the conflict, emphasizing a diplomatic approach to achieving peace. Meanwhile, in Königsberg, the new Prime Minister of Prussia, Graf Kuno von Westarp, unveiled a series of ambitious economic plans for the eastern regions of the Reich, collectively known as the Ostplan. This initiative aimed to stimulate economic growth and create new opportunities in the region. In a surprising turn of events in internal politics, the SPD witnessed a change in leadership. Following the party's failure to join the government, Chairman Bebel announced his resignation during a speech in Saxony, signaling a shift in the party's direction and leadership. Many speculated on the outcome of the leadership struggle within the SPD, but ultimately the centrist faction led by Friedrich Ebert and Philipp Scheidemann emerged victorious in securing the chairmanship positions. Despite this success, a significant faction within the party remained aligned with the more radical Liebknecht wing. Nonetheless, Ebert's official appointment as the new chairman of the SPD marked the beginning of a new era, characterized by centrist social democratic policies. Thank you for joining us for this latest installment of the IAAR. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment to stay updated on the story. If you're interested in participating in this world as a player, follow the Discord link in the description. Until next time.